Um, this is called Silence, just more filler for the end of my journal. It had been mocking me for years. I was like, I'm just gonna finish it soon. This is called Silence, or just silence simply when simply becomes complex, and we start to be more perplexed, and we are sitting in the most peculiar postures, and we're not pleased. Through this stillness, we cause such accidental misinformation. Through this uncertainty, we stagnate and act out things that we have no explanation, and we know no motivation. Fantasy, these minds so surrounding we can't fix the surmounting situations with no cognition and no fruition. We still count the steps that we take to meet the breaking point. We can't stop this present purpose, regardless of the fact that we aren't in control. I whip myself into shape, and still I create. Knock, knock, and who's there? Nothing that deserves the respect that you would insist upon implementing. This is just bad poetry, so here I go again. Seemingly, we have somehow turned whispers into nothing short of screaming to the point of becoming nearly inaudible. If we can still decipher these ancient primal grunts and moans, if we can survive the manipulation of what we wanted to express in the first place, we need to learn all about flow, discipline that ego now, and I need an honest discipline, something worthy of things that we convinced ourselves that were acceptable qualities. And now I have to admit we all fall victim to words and triggers of despair. We need not to allow others' perceptions of all that reversed light into a black hole that serves the opposite purpose. We crave this darkness. We step into the shadows and sleep in such secret sacrilege. So pardon me while I have my Jesus moment, not to sound overly in tune, but we need to address the simple parts of our anatomy that go unlooked. This is basically a need for overall health and well-being now. I find that a snap to pose is a precious commodity, and we cannot accommodate the shipwrecked sirens' islands. We gaze into the vast unknown, and we know we can achieve anything we desire. We want to get lost in the fire behind those eyes. We avoid captivity, and we still desire pleasures from the sea. We want nothing more to mirror the pleasing pieces of unattainable, unpredicted post-apocalyptic decays. Now I happen to come to the point of my own person. This will not and cannot and cannot. We still need to appreciate the simple moat. This boat can only go surviving to the depths of only so many meetings and private eyes. Pirates stop being so loose. I think that eye patch is cutting off the oxygen to your head. Cast away, I stow away. We aren't even left to our dark delusions. They were all exposed years ago, and we have to create something new, a new something, a summoning of our greatest days in our old ways, a return to what we held as a greater, and knowing it us. Now I can understand my missing the point entirely. We were never aware of the suggested silent wait. We pause for the understanding, the absorption of our taught and always believed youth, always naive to conceptually complex ideas. And as a group of youths in simple, undetermined destinations, we were always so easily misrepresented and even more easily deceived. But in this silent beauty, we didn't even truly understand the true meaning of what we put so much belief in. We can't. We now can't look back and say that we can't actually pinpoint a reason we didn't pose a threat, and now we can even begin to be a threatening force, and nothing we could ever be could ever replace those dreams. Nothing we can never ever forget that we have no connection to the reasons. Nothing more to encourage confusions. What we need to stop the soul from bleeding. This will not stop on its own. Don't want a gaping wound, nothing to stop me in my quest to heal, at risk of betraying my past as a painful experience that I didn't find profound change in. It was the sunlight and the barefoot trees and the spring breeze and the things that always providing the teenage needs to be a tragedy that we can't still that we still can't teach others to not fall victim to. These are not anything that we haven't been that haven't been explained. We have now officially decided where to place that, and so the sadness is now a silent soul. This spring reminds me of moments that I could never spy on. I could never rely on. I need this reply from my former self. I need to clarify some lost and unresolved blue colors these greens can inspire, and I have never felt more distant from my teenage times that I watched TikTok, and we never thought to tip or type or thickly take notes of these influential, toughening, and tight tickles of too much teeth and touching, tenacious, tantalizing torch tucked away toys of our teased and timeless travels through tempest trappings that would always teach the truth about the tricks of tooth fairies, although we would always tremble with theories that Tila was telling the tourists in our thin, like two tracks tubes of lipstick, and she told and she told quiet tension-filled tales of our taut and totally tripled trips to a town where everyone took tribal trance to the top of a tree full of trusting time bombs, waiting to talk to the trivial trendsetters that trap you in twisted treacheries. And we would always teach the timid twins to try to trash the typical towers and tacky and twirl down to twitching temptations, and nothing made terrible sense, and nothing took triple time, and tuning into a tangible temperature, this thirst for trouble, this thirst for a theory of time-wasting, temporary tornado of tragedies, and touching trippy tangents, too dry to tunnel through. Today, trickery is my toast to the TikTok. Try not to talk to the team of traffickers. This tantamount trivial pursuit, I try to avoid the testing to see if my tawdry triumphs, a turning to a teetering ticket to a tropical taste of traditionally tense yet tickled refusals to transcend the television tragedies, and totally tracked my utterly wasted, frozen, paralyzed, and that's just to take up time, and these innocent bystanders haven't the foggiest idea of why, just end result. Do you think they wonder why you squander troubled ticking moments of empty? Yeah, it's nothing but a silly word, somewhere between boredom and desperation, between sore, dumb sleep deprivation. Then we continue this starvation. This is a letter to Tori Amos. Tori Amos, you are lovely, and I love the way you shadow me in those nursery rhymes, and first in lines and broken chimes, and when we don't even comprehend why we get the feedback when we are already so full. So fill me up with a loving elixir, and bring me to my news with this your evil honesty, and become the part that we didn't think that would become, well, you. Somewhere over the rainbow, we breathe and achieve the strength to conceive the same old muffled cycle, fading with the sounds of the prequel to a dream, that we can only find solace in clearing our throats when all the rope is frayed and entwined. So much for the tying up of loose ends, and become more than what was a part of the send. So here we are, face to face, dodging proverbial punches with the confused desire to embrace. So instead, I hold my position and stand my ground, and hope that the earth doesn't open up for the pound of flesh weighing on this scale, and start pouring down fire and hail. But if it happens, if it all falls apart, the damned will cower and the blessed will call it art. The fading urgency is the only frequency that is often mistakenly misplaced and static superficially. What was expected? What did you want? Because truthfully, the only thing changing often is going to be my font. So here, in bold Roman italics, I hope that it might be a consideration to be the absence of phallic. Let's allow the accepted, erected origin of the seed become a pile of old dominions and forgotten greeds. Let the remains attest to the inconsistencies of past requirements for masculine superiorities. As we look back in silent smiling satisfactions, we turn our head and see the infraction. It's kind of funny in a sad sort of way. That's even after the advancement of the days, the technology still hasn't made anything okay. The mind reels and will always be set in stubborn silent stagnations. All we can do is throw a pebble in the pond and pray for a ripple to create a movement, and with any grace, you won't have to respond. That was to Tori Amos. TNA, can't blame her for those LA days. Love you, Tori. Anyway, so that's the end of the. Well, that's the shit. Yeah, I mean, I've got actual structured poems too, but they're really old. So I'll spare ya. Anyway, so yeah, thanks for listening.